All right, welcome everyone. This is Josh Nicholas. It is now 7:08 on 7/17/2021. We're going to start looking at some stocks that we want to buy tomorrow and things that we're looking, or not tomorrow, on Monday, and what values and opportunities we can find in the market. So I'm just going to go ahead and run right through it. Right now, I'm going to tell you guys that I really like the semiconductors, and here's the reason why these caught my attention. Is if we look at the AMD, we can see that we have this nice Fibonacci starting to play out. It's trying to come against some support here where we had some previous price reaction. We can see a secular saucer starting to form. When we look at the larger NVDA, we can see that the chart looks even more attractive, where we can see that the price went up. We hit that nice Fibonacci using that same pullback, and now it's fallen. And then we got a nice little wick and a reaction off of the bottom, and it looks like it's creating some support. Keep in mind we also have 4 consecutive days of selling, and in AMD we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days of selling. So statistically, it looks like we're going to have an opportunity here to make some money. So let's take a closer look at the statistics. Now, when I look at statistics, I like to look at value at risk. So I went ahead and did it at AMD. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all this stuff so that way you guys can see it in real time. So first off, let's go ahead and look at NVIDIA. So I already took the liberty of going here to investing.com, and obviously we have the data. Let's go ahead and download it. All right, come on, computer. All right, so now we have some data. All right, my dog needs to stop. Jack, stop. All right, so we have that there. Let's go ahead and add a new sheet here. All right. Now that we have that there, let's go ahead and run. I went ahead and created a macro to make my life easier. So let's go ahead and look what we have here. And there it goes. Okay, so it did its thing. Alright, so we can clearly see anything under 2.97 is going to be significant. We had 2 of those in a row. With AMD, we can see anything under 3.37 is going to be significant. We haven't had one of those in a while, except for right here. So NVIDIA, statistically, just looking at raw numbers, the fact that we got 2 events that were below that 2.97 is more conviction that we're going to see some sort of a bounce next week on Monday. So let's go ahead, and I like to play options 2 weeks out. So let's go ahead and see what we have over the next 10 days. Perfect. So let's say, assuming nothing changes, where's the stock going to be? And as you can see, the 200-day doesn't really do anything. And the stock isn't likely to do anything as well. So our charts here clearly didn't populate because there's 776 days here. So let's just go ahead and make this adjustment to the macro. 776. Okay, now we can see that. Okay, obviously we can see that the returns are almost purely symmetrical. That means that our dynamic indicator here will work, which is pegged against the 200-day. Obviously there's 200 days, so it's going to be 576 here. Oh, whoops. So let's go here, select data, condense it down. Alright, where are we at? 576. Alright, and so clearly we can see we were at 1.24. 10 days ago, where were we at? There we go, 1.44. So what I like to do is see, okay, how did we evolve over the last 10 days? Where are we on a relative performance? Alright, so we're at 1.44, now we're at 1.24. Yep. So we can see that clearly when we look at the cluster of the concentration. Clearly we can see markets are symmetrical. So when we were up here, obviously it meant that it was probably going to come down based on traditional concentration of trades. Obviously we were at the high end. Now we're right in the center, which makes sense. So we're probably still a little right around here. Compared to AMD, we can see that it's symmetrical but less symmetrical. Again, we don't have 2 consecutive days with below 3.37. We have one here, but we also don't have an update of greater than 3% of until you got right there that 5 and that 4, which is pretty not non-reactionary. But if you look over here, it's kind of hard. We haven't had, there we go, we got a 5.01, which is obviously above that Q1. So obviously, based on pure stats, it does look like we're going to get, and also when you look at the chart, for both AMD and NVIDIA, we are overdue for some sort of corrective bounce. So when we look at now forecasting price, obviously, let's say that we're going to see it come back into the middle of about 1.3, right? So 2 weeks from now, we're going to say it's going to be 1.3 times the 200-day. So assuming nothing else changes, so our price is going to be 761.36 on AMD. We're probably going to be a little bit more generous. Let's say it's 1.16. So let's go ahead and figure out where our price is going to be. So we're saying 98.30. Okay, so now we have to figure out, okay, which one of these is the better buy and which one is going to make me more money? Well, clearly, I like the fact that we have a fairly symmetrical distribution of returns here, but we also have a little bit more of activity on, or at least it's more cheap here. So because it's cheaper, I find that more attractive. And so let's see how the options play out. So let's first go ahead and take a look at NVIDIA. So we know that our expected closing price here is going to be approximately 761. So let's look at the 730. Obviously, again, in fact, I hate buying stuff that's completely super out of the money, so I like the 730, because at that point, everything that you're paying is going to be pure premium, or others call it intrinsic value. So let's do the 730. Okay, so you're paying $23.25. All right, so that means $23.25 for 730, right? So we have 730, and you were paying 23.75. All right, so that means your break-even price is that, right? So that means that you have essentially $7 of gains on an option that you paid $23. So you have 23.25 divided, or I'm sorry, by 23.25. So you're looking at a 32% rate of return. All right, and you're risking 100% if 100% premium right now risk. Whereas if you go to, let's say, AMD, and again, we have an expectation that the price is going to be 98. So let's look at that 98. So I actually bought the 86 calls as well as the 84 at the close. But let's just go ahead for the closest out of the money. Let's go 86. So for 86 strike price, we're going to see that you're going to pay $3.15, right? So equals that plus 3.15. Okay, so you have $89. So we're going to have approximately $11 or $9 in gains, and we paid $3.15. So you have that divided by 3.15. So clearly you have a 190% rate of return here, because you have to take out the 1 minus 1. So you have a 190% rate of return with 100% risk at capital. So you have a more favorable trade than you do with AMD than you, or I'm sorry, with AMC than you do compared to NVIDIA, and that it's actually approximately 5.82 times more favorable. So with that, I'll go ahead and conclude the video and wish everyone a happy trading week. But again, just to reiterate, we think that both semiconductors are going to do well. You might have some extra value in NVIDIA, just given the fact that you have two events where they're outside of that first quartile of standard deviation. So if you add those two up, you're probably going to get at least a reactionary of a 33 fib retrace over the last 2 days. So you can pick up a couple bucks there on a quick option trade, and over the next 2 weeks, AMD is the clear winner. But again, we're bullish on both. So with that, I will go ahead and end this video. And so Control End. Oh, whoops. How do I do this?